All right. How is it going? Evening, Paul. Good evening. Let's get into it. Don't know if you can tell, today has been busy. Today has been busy. Evening. Good evening. Ah, sweet. It was there anyway. Why is it not scaled the right way? What have I done? Between this and last time I streamed, I've somehow managed to change the scaling on the window capture. What's going on with that? What's going on with that? Nope. I think I've done a stupid. I haven't changed the window scaling. I've got two windows. That's why. Boom. There we go. There we go. Now we're cooking with charcoal. Woo! Good stuff there. All right. All right. How are we doing? How's everyone's day going so far? Good, I hope. This week has flown by, and I would have loved to have had more time to get stuff done. Alas, here we are. Here we are. Where's this supposed list then? You need to you need to stop stalking me, Dave. Fucking turning up in my sessions, having a cheeky look at the lists that I may or may not be testing for Netherlands. Disgraceful behaviour. Disgraceful behaviour. You know, let's get rid of the background because I don't think I need that on today. Even though it's cool, I am lightly perspiring because I've been running around. Sweet. But yeah, here for another episode of Fix My List. You know the drill. If you're here and you haven't already, please do give the stream a thumbs up, all of that good stuff. Hey, starting to... Who wants to know Ed's password? It's crazier than you think. It's 12345 because I've changed it. Because you keep fucking turning up in my stream, in my my Warhol games. So I've had to change it. You bastard, man. If it wasn't the run-up to WTC, I wouldn't care. But it is the run-up to WTC, so... Can't have you stealing my information. As a certified list... No, you know what? Let's just move on. Let's just move on. Evening. How's everyone's week been? All been good, I hope. This is, I think, yeah. I don't think I've really got much to share. It's been, like, since the last time I streamed, I don't feel like I've done much other than work. There isn't much interesting to talk about at the start. I think we might just literally get straight into the fixing of the lists. Unless anyone's got anything interesting to bring up. I don't think so. Yeah. For anyone who... I should probably say this at the start of every stream. Because people do ask. And I don't mind answering. But it just if I say it ahead of time, it might cut out people needing to request the information. If you want your list to be fixed, you can join the Discord down below on Fridays. Normally at 10 o'clock, but today I overran. So I was busy. But normally lists, you know, I open the submissions at like 10 o'clock. And yeah, post the old world builder JSON file in there so I can import it. And then if you're one of the first 10 lists, I will fix your list. And channel members do get priority as a thank you for their support. And but if you get in early enough, usually you're fine, even if you don't pay me. Which I probably shouldn't say. But yes. Yes, indeed. Soldier list of the Canadians. Can have confirmed me, you're the one who bought them. Ah, you bastard. You bastard. It's not fair that I know your lists, but you also know my list. That's no good. You're hosting a tournament tomorrow. Excellent stuff. That'll be good. Is it a 1 day or a 2 day event, Dan? And more importantly, does it have 10 players? Because if so, I might see it on midweek meta in 5 days' time. You'll never get your hands on your secret elf tech. The day that you play elves, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Do not believe it. All right. Let's get started. Got a little bit more of a mix of lists today. I don't feel like I've got to alternate between a Warriors of Chaos list and then something else every time. 1 day, 16 players. Looks like we'll see it on the midweek meta then. Square base comp, nice. All right, where are we gonna start? Let's have a look here and go with... You know what? There was a list that was posted with no context that I didn't look at. So let's just look at this list. This feels like a good place to start. This is Dayron's Orcs and Goblins. There's no requirement for you to post context, but it's just almost everyone does, so it's a little noteworthy in my mind when someone hasn't. Watching with your husband, know very little about Warhammer, excited for this. That's cute. Is that something that you two do together, or is it just obviously you said you don't know very much about it, but yeah, I have realized that I probably don't want to teach Old World to my partner because it's a complex rule set, but also it's what I do for my day job. So it's quite nice to spend time with someone, another adult human being, and talk about stuff that isn't Warhammer, which I understand is a weird problem to hear. 120 Nobler list is the best way forwards for WTC. No comments. All right, let's have a look at Dayron's Orcs and Goblins. So, what have we got here? It's a Grand Army list with 1 unit of Fanatics. So it's a little bit of a take-all-comers style list. I don't know if it's deliberately this way, but it seems to be a Highlander list where you've only got 1 of each unit. So I'm gonna try and give it again because there's no context here. I just kind of go off the vibes. I'm gonna tweak this as if it is a Highlander list because that's my assumption. So there's a level 2 wizard on a boar for some defensive capabilities. There's a level 2 wizard with Idol of Mork on foot. There's a level 1 wizard on foot. There's a lot of wizards, and I'm not sure what the wizards are for. Given they're all level 1s. I feel like these wizards could do with having a job. This one makes sense, because although Glowy Grand Amulet can go on any model. Also it's not Highlander, because there's 2 weird boys. I had misread one as a weird knob. And then there's a foot, great weapon, tanky orc warboss, black orc warboss. A regular orc warboss, also on foot, with dead-eyed armor for the plus toughness. Big red raggedy flag. And then, okay, so it's all building around this black orc unit. That's the vibe. So I think if that's what you're doing, how do you support that unit the best? Night Goblins is like a home field scoring unit, I think makes a lot of sense. So the Black Orcs want to be more aggressive, but they are slow. And then we've got this unit of Orcs, which I don't know what their job is. It's a lot of infantry units. And then there's a unit of Boar Boys that are big uns. So I think, let's start off with, are there any, okay, so there's the weird boy that's going in the unit. I think, okay, my pitch here is if you're putting one character in the unit, let's make it a lore familiar level 2. And they can take Arcane Urgency and they can take Oaken Shield. You're casting it +2. Yeah. You're casting it +2, so this is going to let you cast those spells pretty consistently. Put a power scroll in there so you'll get the Arcane Urgency off, or you're likely to get the Arcane Urgency off in the turn that it matters. I don't mind a level 1 Night Goblin Odgit. If you're doing it, you've got Idol of Mork for extra dispel. Like it from what you're saying, like in the notes, it looks like you're really worried about dispelling spells, but all of the options you have are not good at dispelling spells. So let's make them more focused at doing a job. And we'll go with this character. We'll go Idol of Gork. Idol of Gork on a level 1 is pretty solid because it gives you increased range by 3. So you can cast your Itchy Nuisance, which is the spell that we're going to be leaning into, at 18 inches. But then also you're able to re-roll a casting roll. We'll do magic for food. Unemployed wizards is yeah. There's a lot of there. I think actually that's a good point. Out of all of the characters, wizards are the ones that I see most frequently without a job. Evening, Matthew. New record for quick start on the fixing list. Yeah, I don't think I've really done anything in the last week apart from work. I've not really talked much. I've just been like, let's get straight into it. So we'll go with. So we've got the level 2 wizard here. Oh, I need to change it to battle magic. Level 2 battle magic with Lore Familiar. And then we've got the level 1 with Idol of Gork. War Magic's fine, it doesn't matter. We're going to be taking Itchy Nuisance. And then the Weird Boy... Like, this character, I don't think does anything. Like, you've put 18-inch dispel range in there for Gaze of Gork. That's fine. I don't think a single Gaze of Gork adds much to the list. Like, you could theoretically before have had 2 Gazes of Gork, but I don't think that's enough pressure to be particularly interesting. So we should go with something that is more useful. And if you're going with more useful, I don't hate War Magic, like a level 4 War Magic, because we've gone for Lore Familiar, right? We've given this character a job to do. So let's get rid of the Weird Boy and replace it with a Weird Knob. Make it level 4. You are having to roll for your spells, which is unfortunate, but if you're using the new channeling rules, you get a little bit of consistency in re-rolling and getting some better spells. War Magic is just a good spell to roll into without... being committed. Vindictive Glare, very good into the meta. This will deal with, if you're aggressive, you can get into War Machines. If your opponent is aggressive into you, you can get it into Shugs or Dragons, which is obviously a solid magic missile there. Hand of Mork is just nice. Not super great in your list, but it can combo with some of the other options, especially like the casting that this character can bring. Bad Moon Rising is kind of the dud, honestly, of the list. Evil Sun Shining is very solid, obviously improving your melee output there. Well, it's not just melee output, it's all output. So I guess technically the orc mobs with bows will be able to do a little bit more. Here we go. This is kind of the reason that we want to go for it. It's your command range, but if you have Warband and you're in a unit of orc boys, you're going to have a leadership of 10, so you've got a 10-inch bubble of increasing their charge range by 3. And I think maybe we look at giving the Black Orcs the Banner of the War. I can't remember if you got it already, but we'll increase their charge range there as well, and we'll just combo, because you can't, like, we could TMP them up the board, but then you have to be 6 inches away. You can't Seed of Shadows this unit, so the way of getting it somewhere, I think, is probably boosting the charge range. I feel like that's maybe what we're going to lean into without changing the list too significantly. And then Foot of Gork is kind of good into, like, as a defensive piece, but also it's so risky, and I've only ever had it harm my opponents more than it's harmed me when I'm not playing the Orcs and Goblins list. Do we need to give this character anything? Honestly, I think it's fine. You've got throwing spears. Are not a weapon that I would recommend. You get, like, it gives you more oomph on a turn that you charge. You're an infantry unit, and even though we're going to lean into War Magic and hopefully get a better charge range, it's unlikely that you'll get value out of the thrusting spears. If anything, you'd go... throwing spears. If anything, you'd go thrusting spears, because you're more likely to get charged. But even then, I think you just go hand weapon shields. I think you're going to get more value out of that. At which point, I take the free warbows. I think that's just going to do a better job for you. Is there anything else that you need to put in there? I'm not really worried about people casting spells into you, so I'm not going to spend a lot of points on offensive buffs there. Is there anything else that's interesting? I guess you could, because you're more likely to be a sort of like backfield unit, you could put in the Ring of Doom and Infernal Familiar combo. But honestly, you could just go Infernal Familiar and Ruby Ring of Ruin. It gives you a little bit more backfield shooting. WTC rules that random movers can't wheel more than once to count as charging. Yeah, did we talk about this, or was I talking about that with something else, with someone else? I can't remember if it was in our chat. Yes, I think that is an odd ruling, personally. Cool. So this is still going with the orc mob there. Then we've got the characters. I don't hate that loadout. I think that loadout is fine. Do I care about the big red raggedy flag on the Black Orcs? It gets you to weapon skill 5, which is fine. I think maybe we just go with the War Banner and you get the extra charge range. Like, you're playing really heavy with infantry, so I'm assuming the theme is like just building around the stuff you have, as opposed to wanting to fully up. You know, I could be like, hey, you should run 4 units of Fanatics, but that's not really useful, right? So actually getting the Black Orcs into combat, I think, would be a useful way of doing that there. Also, you do not have enough shields. You need to have at least 50% of the unit having shields. Otherwise, you will lose out on the 3-up armor save. Stubborn Veteran's good. Everything else in there is fine. And then you've got a very beefy, just like super beefy war boss. Great weapons are really good, but I wonder if... Is it worth going for, like, the Flail of Rex here? Just as a very cheap, good magic weapon? Because you haven't got much anti-magic pressure. Also, Battle Axe of the Last Big War is surprisingly good. Nobody runs it, but I do see this every now and then. Like, now that I'm Black Maul pilled from Beastman, this is more interesting. I think it's too expensive at 75 points. You can't combo it with anything, but I do like it more than I feel like I should. But yeah, this is fine, I think. Cool. Yeah, if you want to put characters into the unit, that's fine. I think that's a reasonable setup there. And then this unit here, Banner of the Wilds, is that move through cover? Yeah, that's cool, but let's just go for Banner of Butchery and get some more pressure there. Or you could go Big Red Raggedy Flag. I'm personally more of a fan of Banner of Butchery, and I also don't think that you need to go so high. Don't hit the Warmaul Cave Squig with a Black Maul and new mount armor is the new meta. It's definitely not the new meta. I'm not going to say it's bad, although that is wild. That is it would hit hard. It just dies immediately. And if I'm spending 75 points on a magic weapon, I probably want to keep it alive a little bit longer. Meteoric Iron. New mount armor. You're talking about the whatchamacallit. It's not an armor, is it? The mount upgrade, isn't it? An enchanted item? Because they haven't been fully imported here. He's put them in. Oh, no, it is. No, yeah, there we go. Demon Blooded Steed. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about anyway. Anyway, back to the list. You're throwing me off. I think then we just need to shave some points. Like, this unit of Goblin Wolf Riders doesn't need to be a standard. I don't hate this unit, but let's just make them a bit smaller. You're probably going to put them in skirmish. You could be an open order, but you're not getting much value out of it, realistically. And then let's go... probably just drop points from the Boar Boys. You don't need 15, I think. You're probably pretty okay running a smaller unit. 9 plus the Wizard gives you 2 ranks of 5, although I like going 6 wide. Is there anything else that I would tweak here? We could go down to 16 here, because that puts you at 6 by 3 with the 2 characters in, which I think is super reasonable. Then this could go up to 11 plus the Wizard, and then we just need to drop one other thing. I mean, the leadership's too important to drop here, right? What on earth would I drop here? If it was 3 points, I'd drop the shield, but sometimes having a 2-up save is worth doing. How worth it is... Because you start at T5, yeah, so this does get you to T6 with the Dead Hard armor. It's full plate as well, so it is probably just worth having. Don't really want to drop the Charm Shield. It feels like it's a musician somewhere, but none of the units are ones that I want to drop the musician from. Maybe it's the Goblin Wolf Riders, purely just because, you know, for the sake of making the list legal, that'll do. But yeah, something along those lines, I think, makes a lot of sense. So let's go with that. I hope that's helpful. Given the lack of context there, I just kind of did what I wanted with it, but I didn't want to tweak the army too much. Kept it to the same models and just tried to refine it for you. Oh, it's your list. Excellent. I've just posted it through, but I hope you caught all of the context there. So basically, the whole theme was you've got your home field holding objective. You've got this unit that needs to be aggressive because you've sunk a lot of points into it, so you need to get value out of it. So push your opponent. Then you've got the ball boys, which we've skimmed a few points off, but they hit harder. And we've given the wizards jobs. Is basically the main thing. We've got a job program here. This weird knob sits in the backfield with this orc mob, and it provides increased charge range for the ball boys. If you need it early on, it provides increased charge range for the black orcs because it's pretty easy to keep those two together. You can increase your you can theoretically have like 3 magic missiles through Infernal Familiar, Ruby Ring, and the Vindictive Glare. Came in halfway. No worries. I guess everything was streamed, so you'll be able to go back and catch the context there. But yeah, I think the main thing that was I would recommend tweaking was the wizards felt unfocused, so I think you can get some value out of those. All right. Well, I've seen Matthew in chat as well, so let's just go straight to there. And there is a 750 battle march list, 750 point battle march list for Warriors of Chaos, I think it was. Comp restrictions. 1 ethereal unit max, no bound magic missiles, no more than 1 magic missile may be attempted to be cast per turn. Good restrictions there. Curious about the synergy. Not sure if you should go 3 Skin Wolves or 2 Dragon Ogres. I could swap to Grand Army and do Chosen Knights instead of Huskarls, but not sure if they were better per point. Cool, let's have a look. Let's have a look. So you're starting off with 3 Skin Wolves. I think Skin Wolves are probably really good in Battle March. Like, durability-wise, they're not awful, because they've got a 5-up regen. They've got 9 wounds between them. T4 is fine. Weapon skill 5 with a 360-degree line of sight. Swift stride charge should be very good. So yeah, this feels like a very solid unit, I think. I always forget that they have Primal Fury. It is good. It's good. It comes with Blood Rage for the extra frenzy, but it doesn't come with the one that gives them AP on their attacks. No, that's right. Warped form is that's the rule. For a second I looked at it, I was like, wait, they get a ward save? Alas, no. But yeah, I think I like the Skin Wolves. I think I like the Skin Wolves more than I like Dragon Ogres, honestly, at this points level. Just being proactive and getting out there, given as well that there's limited magic missiles, feels pretty good. You've got the Huskarls, who have MR2, and you've got Flails, Light Armor Shields, Unnatural Fortitude, and Marcus Slanesh. That's Initiative, right? Initiative and Auto Pass Panic. I don't think you need the Marcus Slanesh, but I assume you're taking it more for theme as opposed to anything else, which is fine. It's only 10 points on the unit there. Not sure on the magic resist. I think it makes sense. Like, this is the unit in your list that is mostly punished by magic missiles, right? It's 150 points for 5 wounds. They are T5, so that's some protection, but I do like the MR here. I think it's so cheap that I'd consider putting an Obsidian Lodestone on, like, an equivalent unit. Like, if I'm doing Wood Elves next weekend, and I take a unit of Wild Riders, I might put an Obsidian Lodestone on. That's the same points, and it's half as good. Initiative to 4, not theme, just had matchup against other Initiative 4 cavalry striking after. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, there's nothing else we can give them here that gives them more initiative, is there? I guess you could go. It's what's it called? Enhanced reflexes, but that's hand weapons only, which is not going to do the job for this unit. That's for sure. Dark Hearts. Is it worth going Dark Hearts for the -1 leadership? That could be very punishing. Like, for 5 points, giving this unit Dark Hearts. I don't hate that. That's a lot of pressure. Warhounds are fine, but kind of forgettable. Berserkers are very good. And Marauder Horsemen are solid as well. You can't give them the 0 to 1 because you've already used the... Have you used the 0 to 1 per 1,000 points? what have we got in here? That's Huskarls aren't 0 to 1 per 1,000 points. Skinwolves aren't, because I've seen people play 3 units of them. Both of the characters aren't. Oh, there we go. The Exalted Sorcerer is. Okay, fine. That is fine. Favor of the Gods, Tome of Spellcraft. Sure. Demonology. Because you can only cast 1 magic missile. So you may as well try and get it off. This is splitting hairs slightly, but would you go battle magic instead? Because if your job is to cast, I'm assuming the job that you're going for is you're going to try and cast Blue Fire of Tzeentch, and then I guess if you go Demonology, you could roll into Demonic Vessel and buff the hell out of the unit that you're in, but I don't think the Huskarls need to be buffed. I feel like they probably hit hard enough. And if you got the Aspiring Champion in there as well, Demonic Mount, nasty. Brazen Will. Drop Drogs, equalize 2 units of... he could do. Could do. I feel like the Aspiring Champ... I feel like a Lance isn't where a Demonic Mount thrives, because it's so tanky, but you haven't got all of the output that the Chaos Lord has. I wonder if you just go... Kind of feels bad to pay for, like, a Biting Blade or something, because... I mean, you're already rocking out with... Strength 4, AP 1. You'd only be Strength 4, AP 2 if you use your hand weapon. So maybe it's fine. I don't think there's anything that's worth picking up. +1 to hit in a challenge. I mean, that's not bad. The Chieftain's Blade. You Strength +1, AP -1, so you're not much better than your general or attacks. But I don't hate the Chieftain's Blade. I can't remember what the really cheap items are for Battle March specifically. Was it Diestra's Blade? +1 initiative. This is the move through cover one, right? Infantry only. So I know what a Sword of Striking does. Thorn Spit is not good. Skirmisher's Blade. This is another one. Failed Wounds. Strength user AP -1 with extra attacks +1. That kind of feels decent with how much mobility you've got. But it does push you into a little bit of an odd direction. All right, I think for the sake of the points you're spending, let's just keep it to cheap and cheerful. Lance is fine. You can swap into the additional hand weapon. Exalted Sorcerer level 1. Yeah, like I was thinking go battle magic, because if you roll Fireball, you're super jazzed about that. Because I think Fireball is just better to have on a level 1 caster, because you don't have a unit that has Mark of Tzeentch, right? You haven't got anything to get the plus to cast for, and even with the reroll, you're fishing for an 8. I feel like fishing for a 7 on the dice with a reroll is very consistent. And like you're probably still just going for Blue Fire of Tzeentch, which is also need to roll an 8 on the dice. Or maybe it's Shadowlands. Shadowlands has a very cheap template. It's not good. Blackened Bolts is cheap. Veil of Gloom, no. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not actually 100% sure on which Law of Magic I'd go for, but I also think they're all kind of a little bit mid. It doesn't make too much difference. I like the general idea of Magic Missile with Tome of Spellcraft if you can only cast 1. But, yeah, I'm going to say Battle Magic because Fireball's good in some matchups. And we'll stop thinking about it too deeply there. I don't care about dogs. Like, they're not bad, but I'm super happy to see them just disappear. This unit have drilled. 0 to 1 per 1,000 points. It doesn't. It does not. That is a shame. That is a shame. I'd like to see a musician upgrade, and I'd probably like to see a 6th model. Like, if you're spending your points anywhere, I feel like the Aspiring Champion's going with the Marauder Horseman or solo. This unit of Huskarls are running around on their own, kicking ass and taking names. We're going to struggle on points if I do that, is the problem. Yeah, okay. Skin Wolves, you could run two. I don't want to run two. Hmm. I would like to see a musician on here as well. I guess we probably just have to make the cuts. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we're having to skip that I'm realizing as I go through because we're having to hit the 23 points of core. So even putting musician on here ruins it unless we drop something over there. Like, I don't think that the Exalted Sorcerer needs to roll. Like, I think out of the two, I'd rather I'd drop the Favor of the Gods and not even risk rolling on the Wizard in case you get Stupidity, because you're not really looking for their magic, like the melee stats. Like, I'm not opposed to having it, but like I'd rather have the Musician, because being able to march and or rally with this unit I think is really key. And then that puts us to a point where we still have to spend more points. We've got the Musician on here. And I don't think there's any realistic way to get this unit. Like, 2 units of the Berserkers just isn't going to fit in, is it? Does this wizard need to be on a horse? I think it wants to be on a horse. I think it wants to be on a horse. What do we have to drop to go with 2 units of the Berserkers? 30 points over. I think that's basically impossible to reach. Although, you could just spam out the Berserkers. It would be very difficult to play against. Although, the Frenzy is obviously a problem. I think we'd have to drop one of the Skin Wolves to get there, but I don't really want to do that. Do I have to put the dogs back in? I don't want to put the dogs back in, but I think that might be the only thing. Fine. They're not bad, I just don't value them. But if you're doing it, let's give them Vanguard, because it's not necessarily that they're looking to charge, given that they are, strength 3 with 1 attack and no AP. It's more likely that you want to get them up the board and put them in some sort of like flanking or rear charge situation, or like try and destroying objectives or scoring objectives. So Vanguard is quite nice for that, because you're probably not charging on turn 1 anyway. But yeah, I think the list is good. I do like playing around with the restriction of just 1 magic missile a turn. I think it makes the list building way more interesting. In terms of your comment about whether it's better to go for Chaos Chosen instead of the Huskarls, it depends what you value more, because the Chaos Chosen are T4 with a 2-up save, whereas the Huskarls are only T5 with a 5-up save, 6-up in combat, but they do hit real hard. So I think the Huskarls are probably better if you want to be proactive, which I do like. I'd love to be able to run both. Like, if only you could take Huskarls in the, the Heralds of Darkness. Could be cool if Warhands had Furious Charge. It would be. That would be cool. I still wouldn't play them as a melee unit outside of 500 points or like Battle March, but it might give them a little bit more oomph at 500 points. All right. Let's get to something different. So something that isn't Warriors of Chaos. You are welcome, Matthew. There was one here that I wanted to talk about. I typically don't read the lists when I'm importing them, because it just makes the job longer, but you'll occasionally see bits of context. So Bob Moss Hobbies, 2,250 points, open war, wanted to build the biggest and best dragons I can. And it's open war, which means that you can have over 500 points worth of dragons, which is tasty. Which is tasty. Trace and Warhost list, any suggestions? You can literally just go double dragon, 3 to 4 units of Tracian Woodsman. 14 is a good number. Unit champion, musician, give them the cloaks, give them heavy armor, give them warbows, give them the great weapons. I think they come with some of that stock, but that's the equipment you want on them. Give one of the units ambush to keep your drops low, and then fill out your non-core restricted points with Sisters of Avalon, and probably with the new magic items, I'd maybe be tempted to, instead of going for the magic bows, be going for the Ring of Doom and the Ruby Ring of Ruin across 2 units. The High Elf Citizen Levies Union is here to watch over me and make sure it happens. Very good. Very good. So this is 2,250, which means that there is, what's that, 1,125 points to spend in core, in characters. Because you could just go double print, and then if you wanted some level of magic defense, a cheap archmage, or a cheap mage instead of archmage. But I don't think that really helps. So not chariots. Chariots really struggle at like if you're talking 2,000 points, chariots are just fodder for faster and tankier things, unfortunately. But if you want to, like, I think chariots are fun. It's just hard to make them work.
Needs more mealworm.
God damn it, Dave. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. It's surprising how many of my nemesis are called Dave. Your influence is spreading. I had someone in a coaching session today tell me that they were going to make me do a coaching session to make Merworms work. No worries, Bildor. I think if you go to Old World Rankings and you can use the search, try and just search to the last sort of like this year. So if you go to like 1.5.2 on the FAQ or something like that, and you filter to Trace and Warhost, any list that's in the top 3, I haven't looked, but I'm assuming they're probably all pretty similar, because I think that's a faction that's pretty likely to run the same thing. You can run like a Death Star with White Lions. It's a lot harder to make work, though. It's a lot of eggs in one basket, whereas the Dragons is like you've got good evasive core scoring, and you've got good shooting, and then you've also got 2 Dragons to back it up. So it's a pretty straightforward list. All right, so we're looking, basically what we're doing is we're looking for the best Dragons, and then everything else is kind of whatever. Like the core is fine. 21 Spearmen with Monster Hunter Tapestry, a unit of archers is fine, although I'd be maybe tempted to change the numbers and make it a detachment, purely so that the Spearmen and the archers can go down at the same time, and it saves you drop. 2 units of Reavers, which is fine, although actually there's a lot of drops here, so it's probably not even worth messing around with. Double Loth and Skycutter, double Sisters, one with Ring of Ruin and one with Ring of Doom. There we go. Hunter's Scorn is the bow, isn't it? Man. I need to remind myself. For some reason, it's taking me a while for the new magic items from the March of Chaos Arcane Journal to fully seep in. Not the Flail of Rex for some reason. That one's stuck in my head pretty easily. But talking about the Hunter's Scorn, 20 points, strength 5, AP1, multiple shots 2. Yeah, I think that's actually a really good combo. I think I would not be surprised to see this. Hunter's Scorn, strength 5, AP1, comboed with the Ring of Doom, because it's 45 points worth of magic items. It lets you do a magic missile, and also you've got a good shooting attack there. So you might lose the ability to debuff someone's initiative. Oh no. What a shame. Cool. So this good. I think, like, I don't really have much to say about the core and the rare. I'd maybe be tempted to put some Dragon Princes in. I like how much oomph they bring into a lot of targets. So, like, maybe I'd find points for a unit of 6 of them with Totem of Wrath, but I'm not overly bothered because you just wanted to see the best dragons. So what would I do for the best dragons? I think this is a good shout. You've gone for a Prince with Great Weapon, which is the best setup if you can afford it. People don't normally run the Halberd just because it points. And you've got your shield plus the Armor of Calidor, so you've got a 3-up save against shooting, you've got a 4-up in combat, and you've got a 5-up ward all of the time. Then you've gone for Opal Amulets and Perept of Soul Exchange, which is the healing potion. You heal D3 wounds, and you remove that many models within your command range, which is an 18-inch bubble, because you are the general on a large target. So I actually think this is a good setup. Like, this is really tanky. You could arguably go for a more beatstick character. The other option would be to forgo the Opal Amulets, or maybe the Perept, and go for Flail of Rex. Like, you could go Armor of Calidor, 1 Opal Amulet, and a Perept, and the Flail of Rex, which means that you'd always have a 3-up armor save. You're a little bit less tanky. You've only got a single Opal Amulet, and you can't heal. But on the flip side, you've got 4 attacks at Strength 6, AP 2, armor, multiple wounds 2. the problem with that is the prince is just a bit underwhelming as a combat character. He's only strength 4 and only 4 attacks. So especially in like the second round of combat, you're only going to be strength 4. If you're in a slog combat against another dragon, if you're fighting like a T6 dragon, you'll be wounding them on 6s, which is rough. So at least with the great weapon, you've got the option to do a little bit more. Like, you're only going to do single wound, but you'll be wounding on 4s, so you're going to get more output out of that. So I think this is a good build here. Then the Archmage, you've got a level 4 high magic caster, and you've gone... I think I like this. So you've gone Silvery Wand. Oh, you haven't got the Seed of Rebirth? No, okay. Let's change this around. So we drop one of the Opal Amulets here, and we're going to put the Seed of Rebirth on this character. The reason for that is the Archmage is a level 4 with 5 spells high magic wizard. Like, you're going to be leaning on Walk Between Worlds, right? Let's just make Walk Between Worlds the thing to go for. And if you're doing that, we don't need Seed of Rebirth because you're only going to be hurt by magical attacks, so that's a little bit easier to protect against. So what have we got so far? Talisman of Protection. Burning Blade. We can drop the Burning Blade. There's an Assailment spell both in high magic, or if you don't roll into it, in the Lore of Safri. Like, if you're worried about Ethereal, you can just take Hand of Cain, which gives you enough protection against like a Banshee or something that they can't just run into you for free. So, is it Silvery Wand or is it Lore Familiar? Because you could be level 3 with a Lore Familiar. I think I like that more. I don't hate the Opal Amulet, but we'll come back to it. Lore Familiar, like so. And then we can drop down to a level 3 wizard and just pick the spells. Because that gives us some options, right? I do really like a couple of things. You could go Ring of Fury for Hammerhand. That isn't terrible. You can put an Opal Amulet on. I actually really like the Scroll of Invocation. Like the key turn where you just need to get your Walk Between Worlds off, you can use the scroll. It's a consumable item. Oh, I'll just show you. It's basically auto cast once per game. Yeah, here we go. Single use. You can use it instead of making the casting roll. You cast it at the minimum casting value. You can still try and dispel. But the minimum casting value is 10, so your opponent needs an 11 to dispel it, so you're pretty likely to get that off. The other thing you can do with that is, and I can't remember who told me this, and I'd love to credit them, but someone pointed this out, and it's so funny. You can take Vol's Unmaking, which is a hex that casts on 11, and no one uses it anymore because it's so hard to cast, but you can just destroy a piece of magic gear, which is so funny. So if you're playing at like no holds bars, bring the biggest, melee character, maybe there's a Chaos Lord with an Ogre Blade on a dragon, or a Flail of Rex on a dragon. You can just be like, oh, I'm going to use my my scroll of Invocation, and I'm going to automatically destroy that Flail of Rex unless you're able to roll a 12 on your Fated Dispel, which I think works pretty nicely. That's definitely something that I could see value out of there. So even though this leaves you without any of the Opal Amulets, we're just going to lean on the fact that you're very consistently going to get Walk Between Worlds off, and if there's a key turn, you can just cast it as you need it, right? So I think that's good. Which leaves us with some extra points here, which is probably nice and easy just to put like an extra Sister of Avalon in or something like that. An extra 2. Yeah, let's just go 2 more Sister of Avalon. Let's just have more range pressure. Oh, too many points in rare. Oh, let's not do that, because that would be illegal. Everything being in rare is such a pain in the backside. How many points would we have to shave? Like, you could drop the sisters down to... I don't think this is right, but what if we went down to, like, 2 units of 7? Pulling that number out my backside. Or let's go 2 units of 6. And then we go... We drop 50 points here, or we drop... All right, 42 points. We're still not going to fit them in. Let's just go for the smaller units, like so.
Any good ONG lists tonight?
Hey, Amy. We did have an Orcs and Goblin list to start off with. It was lots of infantry. Actually, I think it would be very much your speed. It was a unit of Night Goblins, a unit of Black Orcs, a unit of regular Orcs, and a unit of Boar Boys, and then 1 unit of Wolf Riders. It was very much like a grab bag of. So the main thing that I I went around and changed was giving all the wizards a job. The wizard employment process is what we were doing previously. Is there anything else we can tweak these characters to have? Like, we could give this, we could give the prince, we could give both of them Blood of Calidor, actually. I don't hate that. Probably don't want it on the wizard. You've got a low leadership, so the risk of you failing the impetuous is higher. But also, yeah, impetuous is just not good, I think. So we probably don't bother with that. I think that just means we're kind of capped on the points we want to spend on them, right? So I guess we just go slightly bigger on the core, because there's kind of nothing else. I think that's it. Oh, I could do what I said I was going to do. Go to 24 on the Spearman. Go down to 12 here. Get rid of the unit champion. Give them detachment. 2 options for the detachment. Curious. We do lose the unit champion there, which sucks, but, you know, I think that's probably not the end of the world. At this point, let's get this to 26. And then let's get this to 13. And that's close enough. Boom. There we go. The core changes are not super important. I just had to spend the point somewhere for anyone who's watching and thinking, oh, I should be looking at detachments of 13 archers. Curious how channeling will affect the Wizard Council armies while channeling with bad miscasts. Yes, it's the miscast table is the problem, right? That's the thing that's going to be an issue. I'm still convinced that it's not going to push people towards playing lots of wizards. It's more pushing you towards playing one really good wizard. And that's very much my take there. Very much my take. All right. Well, let's have a little bit of a change of pace from dragons to a faction that wishes they could have dragons. Let's have a look at Jacob's list. And Jacob has a Nuln list focusing on commanders, which is general on an Imperial Griffin as a beatstick, captain on a horse joining the Outriders, 1 captain on foot joining the state troops as their BSB, alone on level 2 mage on horse with buffs for the summoning designed to annoy the enemy. Sounds reasonable to me. So we start off, what are we working around? Wow, that is heavy on characters. That is heavy on characters. Okay. Road Wardens are great. Hellblaster volley guns. Why is this got... The way that it's loading this is so odd. Like, one of them it's saying, oh, this is a Hellblaster volley gun, it's got hand weapons, and one of them it's not doing that. How bizarre. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna copy the one that is correct, purely to fix it for my personal preferences. There we go. Now it looks prettier. Nuln can melee. I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see. So there's 2 cannons, 2 volley guns, and 3 engineers. That's fine. I'd maybe lean heavier into the artillery, because it all counts as 1 drop anyway, but that's okay. This unit of Road Wardens, I definitely give ambushes. It's really worth doing. It keeps the drops low. They can come into the backfield. It's a unit that you don't necessarily want to start on the board, because they're so squishy, but they're such an annoyance if they come in after your opponent has like allocated some resources, or allocated resources to stopping them, and then you just bring them in the other side of the map. I think that's pretty solid. I do like a repeater pistol on them. For the sake of 2 points, let's go for 1 additional shot there as well. Then you've got the full unit of the veteran state troops with Ring of Tal for the ward save once per game, Griffin standard, shields, 5 state troops with a handgun. Yeah, I think all of this is like super reasonable. So let's just have a look at the characters then. So. All of the foot characters that are in units are obviously going in the state troops. So we've got the Priest of Sigmar. I've had to reassess my thoughts on priests, because I realized that prayers are actually more consistent than low-level casting, which was an upsetting realization. That did suck. But yeah, Shield of Faith, I think, is going to be the go-to here regularly. Cannons are so strong at this point, Nuln probably must bring max cannons until they fix things. Yeah, I think Nuln, like competitively, obviously Nuln took a real pounding in terms of their ability to play the game. If you you're talking about naming characters in the chat. Anyone who wants to name their characters and submit them, it's not the end of the world, but I would love it if you'd put the name of the character after the type. So if it said engineer and then it said the name, it just makes it way easier for me to read at speed. I'm not gonna kick off if people do it this way around, but it just makes my life easier if it goes character, like unit type, then name. Yeah. even Big Ives. So I think I like this priest. I think this makes a lot of sense for the ward save, just keeping them safe against shooting. Then you've got the level 2 Tome of Midnight Wizard Staff Demonology. Tome of Midnight is the +1 to cast, right? Yep. So your cast. I don't know. Like, I don't think this is a bad setup, but I don't know that casting one spell twice is better than putting a magic missile on there. Because what we could do is we could drop the Tome of Midnight. You still cast the summoning at +2 instead of +3, but then we add in the where's it gone? The Ring of Doom. Ring of Doom. There we go. Honestly, actually, instead of Ring of Doom, it makes way more sense to go with Infernal Familiar. There we go. So then you can just take the you can take Doombolt as your second spell because you're a level 2 wizard. So you've got Doombolt and you've got the summoning and you're casting both at +2. I think that works. Tome of Midnight gives +1 more spell. It does, but I don't think there's much in Demonology that's super worth running solo. Steed of Shadows is nice. That's kind of the one that I'd be looking for. Gathering Darkness is such short range, you usually don't get it off. Demonic Familiar's not really on this character that wants to be solo. Demonic Vessel again, and Demonic Vigor, not super useful here. You can give plus movement and toughness to the Brick of Troops, but it falls off at the end of the turn, which, like, is really sad. I would love to see... I think one of the many things that holds infantry back from being really threatening is that most of the buff spells in this game are neutered compared to previous editions, but also you don't get to keep them until the next turn. Like, if this just gave +1 movement, toughness, and initiative to the Empire troops until the end, like the start of your next turn, I'm rocking Demonology. Like, I'm loving life when I've got my really beefy unit there. Vortex is fine as well. So I think the level 2 with Infernal Familiar, so you just get to pick both magic missiles, works really nicely. Double check Infernal Familiar. I don't think it allows them to cast more spells. No, but you're a level 2 wizard, so you have 2 spells you can cast, right? Because you're taking Demonology, you're taking the summoning, you're taking Doombolt, and then you're just casting both of those. I don't think you don't know an additional spell, Matthew. You just no worries. Just for anyone who's curious, Infernal Familiar doesn't give you one extra spell known. It just replaces one of the spells. Basically, when you're picking spells, you replace one of them with the with Doombolt, which is, I think, really interesting because it's a kind of poor magic missile. But just being able to cast 2 magic missiles, especially for Empire, when you're getting that +1 to cast for magic missiles here from Wizard Staff, it's kind of neat. I kind of like it. You wouldn't know, though, because you're playing the fair system where you're only allowed to cast 1 magic missile a turn, which is more fun Warhammer. All right, so it says they know in addition to the ones they know. Is that really true? Am I just bad at reading or remembering? Oh, in addition. I'm wrong. I'm incorrect. I am incorrect. Oh, good point. Can't believe I got that wrong. There we go. I told you that the items hadn't fully fixed in my brain. Thanks for the correction. All right, so the captain. We can give this character a Charmed Shield. It doesn't make much difference, but just giving it a little bit more oomph is nice. I'd probably go Enchanted Shield if I had the points, but I feel like spending 3 points to go from a regular shield to a Charmed Shield is pretty easy to do. I'm less keen to spend the 10 points to go to an Enchanted Shield when you've only got 2 wounds. Then you've got this captain here with shield, brace of pistols. Like, this is fine. And you've got the general with twice blessed armor, white cloak, Witch Hunter's Ward. Witch Hunter's Ward you maybe don't need. The magic resist is nice, but I think, like, I'm not sold that you need to go down that route. Like, if anything, I'd maybe be more tempted to go for the second head. It gives you +1 attack. You have to use the bite for it, but it does get you to 5 attacks. What's the initiative here? Initiative 5. Because what you could do is you could go Great Weapon, you could go 2 heads, and then you're more... What's the matter here? Like, it's not going to make a difference. I was like, oh, you could then theoretically have slightly better combat res into a challenge. You're still going to lose it. It doesn't make a difference. Sure. I think the Outriders is too small. I think if you're doing the Outrider plan, you should make them more... just make them a bigger unit, basically. How do we get there is the question. I think, I mean, I'd like to go up to like this, but I think that's too far to go. Even just going to 9 with a character on there, I think gives them a little bit more oomph. And we can drop one of the engineers. I'd love to have 3, but I think it's kind of a little surplus of requirements if you've only got 2 Hellblaster volley guns and 2 cannons. And then maybe we just drop... Oh, God, we'd have to drop 3 state troops. That's annoying. The Ring of Tal's really nice. I do like it as an option. Is there anything... Oh, this priest has got a shield and a charm shield. Perfect. We can drop 2 points there, and then we can drop those 2. Boom. All right. Nice and easy. And that gives us a list that is very heavy on the characters. I think just as a general point, if you're trying to make, like, if you play this and you feel like it doesn't have enough oomph, the change that I would go with is I think the good, like, the best known list is just play as many cannons and Hellblaster volley guns as you can. Bring Hans von Lohenhack, who is there to give you +1 to go first. Go very low on your number of drops. Maybe don't even worry too heavily about leaning into the big brick of veteran state troops. You can probably just go low on them because all you're doing is trying to go first and blow your opponent off the board. I don't think it's a fun playstyle, but I think leaning more into that if you're having issues with power level of the unit would be the way to go. All right. All right, then. Let's have a look here. So. How about we change things up a little bit? Let's go into Ingud, and I'm going to have to remind myself on some of the rules for Slaanesh, because the problem with the remembering the rules for demons is they came out before the FAQ. So, my brain has superseded everything there with just new information. Demons of Chaos. Here's the document. Let me just pull this one up so I can cross-reference things as and when I need. All right. Let's have a look at this. So, the first thing that I thought when I looked at it was like, what's the build that's the best with the chariots? Because I love the chariots, and they do have Swift Stride. Obviously, someone in chat was able to... Sorry, not able to. My brain just short-circuited there. Someone in chat was asking about chariots. The chariots with Swift Stride have a lot more play. That's definitely something there. Your demons, excellent stuff. And short and sweet, yeah, I think the list made a lot of sense, Chaka. Rather not have 2 heads, have to buy another model. Yeah, it doesn't make too much difference there. It's not overly powerful. And playing Empire, would you lean towards generic Empire, Renegade Crowns? Renegade Crowns is unfortunately a bit weaker. I think there's stuff you can do with it, but I'd probably just go with Grand Army. That seems like the easiest way to, or just like Empire in general. I think have more power at the moment. Okay, so let's have a look here. So yeah, I do like the chariots. Double Hellflayer. Which one's the Hellflayer? I always forget which one's which. So Hellflayer is... You know what? The way that I'm going to remember this is I'm just going to go... Hellflayer is the sideways one. Okay, cool. Nice and easy. That's how I'm going to... That's what I'm going to have to do to double check. So we've got a... Hellflayer, which is relatively punchy. There's how many attacks coming out there? A lot of attacks. Okay, I like those. I like characters on the chariots as well. It's a little bit less important for demons because you already have the ward save built in, but I do like adding the extra wounds to them. So there's also a Burning Chariot of Tzeentch, level 3 Power Vortex with... Yeah, I mean, this just makes sense. I'm not sure Illusion is the lore I'd go for here. I guess... Can the... I'm going to have to double check the document. I can't remember. Obviously, Pink Fire has been added to this document. I cannot remember if you're allowed to cast Blue Fire if you are any Tzeentch caster, if it was just specific ones. I think it was any Tzeentch caster. Let's have a look. Lore of... he's got the laws up at the top of the document, doesn't he? Yeah, that's fine. just scroll through this one. Because if you've got pink fire already, you don't need to take a law that has a magic missile. Blue fire even. Yeah, okay. So right now anyone can take blue fire. So that just means that you're able to take... I guess illusion makes sense. Like, what are we worried about? I feel like Earthen Ramparts is completely pointless. So that's a bit of a bummer. But Plague of Rust is really nice. Like, for this list, I think Flaming Sword, Earthen Ramparts are the only two duds. So you've got 4 good spells there. Whereas for Illusion, kind of just looking for Column of Crystal and Miasmic Mirage. I would change to Elementalism, because I think this is a law that has more hits for you in this list. I think Plague of Rust is really good if you're playing with like double Hellflayer here and like the Demonettes and the Furies. The Demonettes are less likely to get the charge, but just like large amounts of output, I think you probably want to go Plague of Rust there, so that makes sense. Yeah. I believe that is correct. Cool. Then we've got double Furies. They lost Furious Charge, I think, didn't they? Which I do not think they needed to do so. Honestly, the Furies are probably better as Khorne, although that does mess with the theme, unfortunately. There should be a total points per unit restriction to limit Death Stars. You know, if we start talking about how to fix the game, we'll be here all night. There's a lot of different things that could be done. Demonettes get the charge a surprising amount with Flea Shenanigans. Ah, yes. The rule that shouldn't exist and will hopefully be removed sooner rather than later. No stomp attacks on that. Okay, that's good. Like, is the unit of 12 doing a lot for you here? Like, would the equivalent points in... Because I feel like the Furies... I don't hate the 13. The 13 can fly around and score. The 6, I guess, can threaten baggage trains, but they're very squishy. So I worry a little bit about that. Like, this 12 and this 6, are they better replaced with Seekers? How many points is it for, like, 6 of them? 6 of them, unit champion, musician. It's pretty comparable points for the unit of 12 Demonettes. Maybe that would be a change that I'd make. But unless there's just a use for the Demonettes that I'm not necessarily seeing immediately. But I'd probably make that change. I'll leave it for now. Let me know in chat if there's anything that you're thinking specifically goes towards them. But yeah, otherwise, these Furies should probably just be Khorne for extra damage. I said, because this is a full Slanesh list, and I remember that you've got a Burning Chariot of Tzeentch in here, so it's not truly a full Slanesh list. So if you're making that concession, I'd change the Furies over to Khorne to give them some extra oomph. Herald of Slanesh. What have we got here? Chromatic Tone. That's the reroll, I think. Oh, knows +1 spell. Sure. Level 2 with Demonology. Hoping to roll into all of the good stuff there. That makes perfect sense. And then you've got a level 1 Illusion Caster, I think. Yep, that makes sense. Infernal and Rapturous. Is this the one where you have to charge? No. This is the one where you plus cast to them as well. Okay, that's a nice little setup you've got. Demons have more wounds, Seekers die fast. Yeah. I mean, I personally feel the Demonettes will die fast in terms of, like, doing anything. If they're trying to score, you only need to lose 2 models, but, yeah, I'll leave them as. Like, I don't think the core tweaks are particularly overly important. And then you've got level 4 with Demonology. That's interesting. Enrapturing Gaze, Chromatic Tone for the +1 spell known. So you're just trying to go for Demonic Vessel, Demonic Figure, Demonic Familiars. Steed is good. I don't hate that. Like, obviously, people just normally go for Illusion, but I don't hate the Demonology caster here. And you're casting at +3 if you've got your other wizard close enough. I need to remind myself what the Banner of Acquiescence does. -D3 to weapon skill in combat. Sure. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what I'd change here. Like this, like I think the main thing that I'm looking at is I'd maybe lean heavier into like you've got 676 points of core. I'd probably go down to the minimum 500 and then put more umph in. So like Hellflayers have the 2d6 impact hits, don't they? I think. Yeah, 2d6 plus 1 impact hits. So like that's really interesting to build around, especially if you've got like an elementalism caster here that's pretty consistently going to Plague of Rust your opponent. I feel like that like more hitting there isn't a bad idea, or maybe just like more ranged pressure. Like I could see more ranged pressure adding a lot to this list because you don't want to just engage in fair fights. So if you dance around your opponent and pick them off, having more ranged casting wouldn't be awful either. Yeah, that seems to be. Yeah, I think that's the main change I'll make. So I'll put it in, just for click the wrong button. Although I do like a secondary scoring unit, so maybe we just keep the 12 because you need something to sit on a home field objective. Actually, no, I think it's Furies. Like if I want a secondary like flexible unit, I'm gonna put them Slash, but they probably. Okay, I'm going to put them Corn. Feel free to change them back to Slash. That's how I'll do it. And we've got like 14 of them here. This is a decent scoring unit, and we're still a few points under. What would I go as a secondary unit? Maybe just go for that unit of 6. Maybe that's the because it is like a backfield harassment unit. It's fine. That puts us at when we pay for the Corn, pretty solid there. Yeah, and then you've got an extra 180 points that you can spend. But I am leaning away from Slanesh a bit, but because there's a Chariot of Tzeentch in here anyway, I feel like that's okay, even though it's called competitive Slanesh. What would I put in as the? You could do the same with the Herald of Slanesh, but the problem is the Herald of Tzeentch is just so consistent. Like you're casting it +3 if you do this, and then you could go Battle Magic. Does the disc make it? It does make it cavalry, doesn't it? So it doesn't work there. Started only Slanesh, they're very limited. Yeah. I have multiple things that I wish you could do with Slanesh, but alas. Then probably Winged Horror, which puts us pretty over on character points. Okay, so maybe it's literally just a level 1 wizard that flies around and does pink fire at level like a +2, and you could throw in Chromatic Tome. Oh no, because Winged Horror is too expensive. Yeah, like I think that just adds a reasonable amount of punch, or you drop it and you go for what would you put in realistically? I guess another Hellflare. Like another Hellflare is fine as well. 2's probably enough though. 2 is probably enough. I'm struggling to think what I'd put in here. Like it's maybe it's Flamers. Maybe that's where the casting should come from. I think if you go level 1 should fit in points wise. Yeah, we can do that. And then you can also give you've given Power Vortex already, so we don't need that. Is there anything else we need here? Don't think so. Oh, no. Iridescent Corona is really nice on this unit, isn't it? It's the -1 to hit the unit. We then are over on points. 8 points over. What are we looking at? How many points are we in core? We can't tweak core, special, and rare are the only things that you can tweak. So maybe you just can't fit Iridescent Corona in. Maybe that is the... Because I don't think there's anything here I really want to drop. Remind myself what Enrapturing Gaze is. Turn off Inspiring Presence. That's not bad. That isn't bad. Siren Song. Oh, yeah, this thing. I fucking hate this thing. Hopefully that gets deleted or, like, fixed. I guess the tweak is just we can't afford to fit the Iridescent Corona in here. 30 points is just a little bit too much for that. Unfortunate. So then I guess you just buff out these 2 units. Points are just a pain in the backside. Truly a pain in the backside. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry too heavily about making the points go right to the last 10, because I think the actual last points are not the super important part of it. But we'll call that there. I think I'd just put more magic missiles in, basically. Like if you're playing that sort of like hit and run style, I think having the additional range pressure is pretty good. Cool. All right. Let's have a look here. Catch up and chat. I was not really paying attention. Get rid of that one as well. The game view of Old World Builder. Yeah, I think the game view of Old World Builder is fine. I think if it's something that you feel like you need, I'd recommend going with like writing yourself a cheat sheet. I think that is a good way to make sure you've got everything there. No worries, Grilled Bear. And did you miss the lizards? I don't think there's any lizards in this stream, unfortunately. They were not early enough in the... Yeah, not early enough in the process. I don't think, by the looks of things. No lizards there. All right. What do we got then? So we've had a look at Orcs and Goblins. We've done some Warriors of Chaos. We've done some High Elves. We've done some Nuln. We could have a look at... Let's save the other High Elf list for now. Let's have a look at... Let's have a look at this Bretonian list. Evening. So this is Jack S's Bretonian list for Colchester Clash. Your list for a 2,500 point list in mid-September. Plenty more Knights of the Realm and Errants, two Trebuchets, Horse-mounted BSB, Lady LSA, and a Horse-mounted Duke/Baron. You can paint up more Grey Knights, but you'd rather not paint loads if possible. All right, cool. So, 2 small units of Pegasus Knights, a unit of 5 Mounted Demon, and a small unit of Grail Knights. What is the purpose of this unit? What does the Virtue of Discipline do? It's just the... Always march. I think if you're taking the Grail Knights, like, there is a genuinely good reason to take Grail Knights. Outside, I like the little footprint of 3, but if you're doing anything, it's a pretty solid place to put... Where has it gone? The Falconhorn, which has since been FAQ'd so that you can put them on characters. The back and forth on whether people were allowed to do so. Like, I like this little... It's 166 points, but you can turn off Fly for an enemy for a turn, which is not too shabby. Not too shabby. Okay. Trailblazers Hawbuck doesn't work that way, unfortunately. It is only for the wielder. The unit doesn't gain the rule, it's just for the wielder. I feel like I'm having deja vu. I assume it wasn't you that brought this up like a month and a half ago. I'm sure you are a different person, but you know when you just look at like the username. Well, I was looking at the username and picture combination. I'm like, I swear we've had this conversation before, but it must have been somewhere else. I am sure. All right, so character-wise, what have you got? You've gone for the Duke with the Grommel Great Helm, Virtue of Heroism. Then you've got the Baron with Knightly Temper on a Bard of Pegasus, Green Knight. And what have you got on here? Totem Wrath, Banner of Swirling Winds. If you're going for... Okay, I like the Green Knight. I think the Green Knight is solid. And if you're worried about monsters, which you appear to be because of the Duke, I like having the Dolores Blade, the Green Knight there. It does not give the whole unit the special rule. It gives the character, the champion, the special rule. Oh, I'm just gonna have to read it now. I'm very confident on this, but I will make sure. Yeah, the wearer gains the move through cover and scout special rule. It doesn't give it to the unit; it gives it to the unit champion specifically. Scouts is yeah, it's for the unit. It's not for the unit champion. Once per game, the unit. Yeah. Too many trailblazers. Anyway, okay. I don't love the Duke. I don't think the Duke is doing what you want him to do. The actual odds of killing a dragon, it's super low. I can't remember the exact odds off the top of my head. I think it's something like a 20% chance for the Duke to actually get it done, which means that I think the odds are like you're pretty significantly likely to do it after like 3 or 4 rounds of combat, but by that point you're either dead or you've lost. I know you've got the Grommel Greathelm, but yeah, it's not yeah. I just don't think it's good. Like, I feel like if you want to go for a second good character, the Cackling Blade is such a good item to go with the unit that's got the not Talisman Protection, the Totem of Wrath. Like, it actually just does a lot compared to what the baseline unit's going to do, because this character is going to go fly around and not really get charges, and also because you don't have the 360 line of sight, I think you'd struggle there. If you want to go for the Duke with the Virtue of Heroism, I think the way to do it, is go for the magic armor that gives you a regen, the Gilded Cuirass, so that you've got the triple save. You go on the Hippogriff, so you've got 7 wounds. I think that's about as tanky as you can make. And then you can threaten to go in against the dragons, and you don't just get killed immediately. You're a monster. So they will be able to stomp you, but they don't get AP on it, so you've still got a 3-up save, a 5-up ward, and a 5-up regen. Yeah. So that's... No. Yeah, so that's... that my thoughts are there. So if you're not doing that, I think just go, like, I like the Cackling Blade character more if you're going to put it into a unit, which, given that you've said which models you have, I don't want to put a model on a Hippogriff, because that is a little bit of a departure from what you've got currently. So Cackling Blade here, and there are other things you can go for. Like, I don't hate a Paymaster's Coin, especially because you're comboing it with the Totem of Wrath, so you're going to be Strength 6 AP2 and rerunning 1s to wound. So Paymaster's Coin is pretty solid. Syrian's Locket is really nice to go for as well. I just generally like my general to have Syrian's Locket in an open field, so that's probably where I'd go. But Paymaster's Coin is nice as well if you want to go for that. I have seen people picking up Potion of Speed recently as well, because the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount with Flail of Rex is so powerful that it can just cause some real issues. So yeah, this is definitely worth considering, given that they could countercharge you. So that would probably be my go-to if I wanted to run like the double melee character in Grand Army. This build is obviously fine. It just makes a lot of sense. The Prophetess here, you've gone all in on magic defense, which I think is fine. If you're doing that, what would I go with? Do I care about the lore? Like, it doesn't feel like elementalism, but I also don't know what it is. Like, I don't think you need Plague of Rust. If you're on a horse, you're probably not casting Earthen Ramparts, although I guess it's joining the... I guess it's running around solo, right? I don't have strong feelings on the lore of magic, but I don't think it's... Like, the way that this character's set up, I don't think I love elementalism. I just don't know what I do want. Yeah. Okay, we'll leave it at that, because I don't hate having a magic defense piece, although I wonder if it should be on a warhorse, because it feels like you're probably wanting to put it into a unit. Or maybe not, because you've got 2 units of Knights of the Realm that are 6, and you've got a unit of 3. So maybe it is just running... Oh, no, it's running with a Mounted Demon. I thought they were there. I don't know whether I could find them. Hey, Jackson chat. Sorry if I missed any previous messages, Jack. No, it doesn't look like I did. Yeah. So what's the thinking on the spell lore? Because I'm not vibing with elementalism. I don't hate the build. I think the full commitment to dispelling is absolutely fine. But I'm not jazzed about elementalism. What's your goal for like the secondary purpose being the casting? Anyway, let's have a look at the rest of the list. So Swirling Wind and Totem Wrath is fine. If you wanted to go, by the way, with the Virtue of Heroism caster, you should definitely go for Monster Hunter Tapestry on here, so you can actually go toe to toe with the dragon for a bit. I haven't really got a favorite between Battle and Elementalism. I think that's honestly that's super fair. Like I'm looking at this, I'm like I don't know which one I'd go with. I think I would default towards Battle Magic, but also I I think okay, so I think they're kind of equally mediocre in this for this list. But Battle Magic has lower casting values, so I think with that in mind, I'm leaning towards Battle Magic slightly. But yeah, I think you just go with whichever law you want. Like honestly, maybe it's illusion, and you like if you roll into one of the control pieces, you're super jazzed. Like maybe that's just the way to go here. Have you got points? You could even go for a level 4 illusion caster. You find illusion to be too hard to cast. Yeah, that's fair. You'd probably want to put something else in there as well. Yeah, like a power scroll or something. Is Colchester using the new casting rules, the channeling rules? One of it. Yeah, exactly. Like I agree. I think the build is good for magic defense. I'm just looking at it like, But actually, if you're taking it just for magic defense, is it better to just go Lady Elisay and then chuck up a calming orb on someone else? Like I don't hate that. That could be doable because it's only 25 points, right, for the Becalming Orb, so you could put it on like a unit champion here. You could do that. Drop the Prophetess, put in Elisay. It makes her a little bit harder to keep safe in that she is not able to join the Yeoman. Although they can be in open order, so you can still put her in the unit just in open order. So you probably still do that. But it's less good at just running around and being a nuisance. But she doesn't really need to be out in the open. She's just there to be magic defense. So yeah, maybe that's the play. You know, you put Lady Elisay in and go from there. Then the Green Knight's good. Into core, Men at Arms, Full Command, Blessed Triptych. Have you not got Monster Hunter Tapestry anywhere? Interesting. Let's go. Oh, I forgot that Men at Arms can't have a banner. I'm so used to playing the Yeoman Guard. And then we've got 2 units of Knights, which is just cheap and cheerful. Bowman, Pegasus, Yeoman, Grand Knights. Okay, so obviously you had the heroism character in here that I took out. You can do whatever you want, but like you could go back to it. I don't think going back to it is the play. I think the play is going for units that you can push in and challenge and win on combat res with. I think that's the way that I would lean into. So you'd go in and try and stack some static combat res. So that's like 10 knights plus a BSB. That's a really good deterrent for a dragon. But you don't really have points for that. We'd have to drop something, and I don't really want to drop like all of this is fine. Honestly, like a small unit of Peg Knights for backfield clearing is not terrible. This unit of Ground Knights is maybe more than you need, but you'd be able to catch them if you've got the Falcon Horn, and you could stick the Arch Lightning Rod on someone else as well. Like, what does that look like? If we go for the Paladin, Lance, Shield, Warhorse, don't need a Virtue there. Arch Lightning Rod, and then we also go BSB with War Banner. 147 points, which puts us at, we could cut 53 points there, so we'd have to basically cut. Alright, it doesn't really work the way I want it to. But I do want something. Like, I'd love to have a unit that is just a bit more It's got a bit more oomph. We could actually shave a few points. We could take the war banner off the paladin, and you could put it on the Knights of the Realm, because then it's coming out of core. And then we only need to shave. We've got 78 here, so we'd only have to shave about 40 points. That's doable, maybe. That is doable. So if we go to 1 unit of 10, drop the second unit, and then we are. If we can drop 9 points, that would be ideal. Of course, peasant bowmen are slightly too many. Is there a 43 points that we could drop here? I mean, it's the Ground Knights realistically, but then we just don't get to do the double no fly that I've been talking about. Because 2 turns of no fly is not too shabby. Because this list, I think, has play into Cathay, actually, looking at it. Because you've got the immune to multiple wounds Duke that you can yeet up the field as much as possible. We're going to go... could drop 1 model here. Because LSA is going to join the unit, but that doesn't help our points issue. We're trying to squeeze too many different things in. And by we, I mean me. I'm trying to squeeze too many different things in, but I kind of want them all to work. Maybe you just live with the Green Knight and the no-fly being the solution. Let's get rid of the Paladin. Bring back 2 units of 6. Get rid of the Becalming Orb on the second one. And just don't worry too much about Cathay. 25 points under. I think if you're... Oh, but this is... Yeah. Being able to march is fine, but I don't care too much about it. I don't think there's anything else that's super worth putting on there, though. Lacking inspiration on finishing this one off. Lacking inspiration. I think LSA is better, so let's just make sure that the unit that she's in is a little bit more durable. Like, maybe that's the solution. Give me unit champion as well. Just stick 1 more peasant bowman in. The core and the like the last few points there, I'm not super sure on, but I would generally think that this setup character-wise is going to be better. Green Knight's good. The Duke with the Cackling Blade and the Baron, I think, are both very solid. Lady LSA, I think, is better magical defense than what you had. It's a little bit more clunky in terms of protecting it, so the human have to be in open order instead of close order, but it's not, instead of skirmish. It's not the end of the world. And then haven't really tooled around with the core much, and we just added the no-fly unit. Giving the Grail Knights the no-fly, whatchamacallit, I think, just gives you a little bit of oomph at least once per game to try and outposition the dragons or the anything else. Cool. Oops, I've just linked you someone else's list. I should actually press the copy text button. Otherwise, that's not very useful. Not very useful at all. Boom, there we go. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right. I've seen Cthulhu in chat relatively recently, so let's have a look at Cthulhu's list. With this list, I really want to try the loner character joining the Forsaken, so I want to keep the unit as a hammer advancing sort of unit. I thought maybe more troops instead of character points because the Warpfire is pretty expensive. Not all armies catch the imagination the same. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Cool. I mean, generally, Warriors of Chaos, the best thing you can do is character points. So I'm not sold that we need to go too heavy on those. But, yeah. Okay, so you've got the Chaos Lord. You've got a Demonic Mount with nowhere to put it, realistically. Hmm. Okay, so if you want to do the Forsaken thing, which I think is fine, um, I would say the best way to do it would be go with a wizard. But if you want to go with you could just put the sorcerer lord in there, right, with demonology, and you can steal a shadow them to where they need to go, and that just makes the brick work. If you want to put the aspiring champion in, what have you given them? Taskmaster Scourge. Okay, if we're putting a character in, we may as well make them. We may as well make them the Exalted Champion. Right? That just makes sense. You have spent a lot of points here on a 2-wound character. Okay, so let's assume that we're doing it with the BSB, because it's super easy to build out with an Exalted Sorcerer, so I don't need to sit here and do it. What do you give them? Monster into Tapestry, that is fine, and we need to give them the... where's it gone? Mantle of Drifting Shadow, very cool. And then go... What am I looking for? Taskmaster Scourge, the movement. That does cap us on points. Like, I'd really love to give it some sort of durability, because we've only got a 5-up save if we go hand weapon shield, which is not ideal. Like, is there anything we can do? Maybe it's just MR. Giving them enchanting aura is fine, and we don't need, like, we'll give them a shield, but we may as well just go with a grey weapon as well. Just actually get some more output out of them. Give you the option to do either. And then traits, you'd gone for Brazen Will, but let's just give him the MR2. That makes a lot more sense. You'd give him Mark of Nurgle and join him to a Khorne unit, which is technically allowed, but I'm not gonna put that in the list. You're welcome to add it back in yourself, but that feels wrong to do. Yeah. I don't think this character makes any sense. I don't think it makes sense to have a Chaos Lord if you don't have... Like, a Demonic Mount Lord is good, but I don't think it makes sense unless you're also running cavalry to do, like, play around. It's so easy to shut down. If you wanted to do it, you could go with the Icon of Fortitude, giving you immune to multiple wounds, and then you don't need to pay for Roker Blade. You can just go for the Flail of Rex for 30 points cheaper. But I just don't think it's a good solo character in this list. And also, like, if you're having to pay 45 points to not be wounded on 2s, like, we're paying a lot of points here for something that is not getting there. Like, I think if you're doing this style of list, I would go with a dragon as well, because you need to back up the unit. As it stands, you're kind of not bringing enough threats, enough, like, very heavy pressure threats. So let's go with... just give it the classic. I mean, we may as well go for this version here. Meteoric Iron. And I don't think we need anything else here. Generally Nurgle, but it doesn't actually matter too much, I think, realistically. Make it the general. And then we just cut some points here. What have we got? So this unit goes down to 21. Unnatural Fortitude is good. Shields, light armor, hand weapons, war banner. We're spending 50 points on magic items, which feels a little rich. I don't think that's super necessary. Also, I think they're called baggage-trained defenders, but because it's impassable terrain, if someone has, like, fast stuff, it's really hard to defend it. I'd rather go with more Marauder Horsemen. Like, 2 units of 6, I think, makes a lot more sense. Also, let's just drop the Banner of Rage here. Ambushes, Skirmishes, Unnatural Fortitude, 2 units of 6. Yeah, so these 2 units, one can hold your backfield if you need to, or you can just use them both aggressively as ambushes, and then you've got everything here. The horses are nice. Yeah, the horses are just a lot easier to use, and then the Warfire Dragon being level 1 is important to have. I think I just okay, we're only 4 points over. We'll drop the Charm Shield. I'm not convinced that this backfield unit needs MR2, but also you've got the points for it, so I'm not going to tweak it over there. I'm just going to leave it as it stands. but I think you should save some points. What I would recommend though, obviously I've said I don't need to build it out because it's obvious, but I think a better version of this is you still go for a dragon, you still go for the you go for the level 3 wizard with Lore Familiar, Steed of Shadows, yada yada, and then you just lean more into as much pressure as possible. I'm not really sure what else you could put in. Like maybe you drop the level 1 on the wizard, because you're only cast like with the sorcerer. How many points is the sorcerer? So the sorcerer lord is I'm assuming we're using channeling, so I don't feel the need to go for talisman, not talisman, to go for whatchamacallits, power scrolls. We do have to give them a regen item though. I think we can just leave it there. I think that is like a fine build for this character. 265 plus 499, plus was it 375 for a Warpfire Dragon? I think 375 plus 500. That puts us at 1,639, because you could then add in like a beefy unit of chosen knights as well as like an extra pressure piece. So you'd have a dragon. You'd have, wait, have I done that right? Am I being stupid? 500 plus 500 plus 265 plus 375. Yeah, I've done it right. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you could have like a heavy hitting unit of chosen knights to back up the sort of like hammer slash anvil there, and you could still run a dragon, a Warpfire Dragon, the Forsaken brick that can TMP, and a unit of chosen. Like that feels probably the direction I'd go. And then the core looks pretty similar here, although you'd have to drop points pretty significantly, because you'd want to cut it close to like 550 points of core, I think would be about right there. But yeah, that's that looks good there. I was wondering why the points were of it's because I had to just like an extra wizard in without, doing anything else. Cool. Is the Warpfire Dragon better than Giant Cave Spawn? Yeah, massively. Giant Spawn are okay. A lot of their output comes from the stomps, so Monster Hunter Tapestry has really done a number on them. Warpfire Dragon is the best piece of magic, the best like magical, like enchanted item you can spend, because it lets your Chaos Dragon go into combat with another dragon and win every time because you've turned off their ward save, especially if you're playing into stuff like if you're playing into Chaos Dwarves where they've maybe got the Armor of Destiny on like a Sorcerer Prophet, which is so hard to chew through. Just turning off that 4 at ward save is absolutely massive. But then also it's a dragon that can go into the front of units. It has magical attacks, it has MR2, it can't be challenged. It's a really, really solid piece. I like Giant Spawn, but I think that, like, if you're putting things on a tier list, a Warpfire Dragon is probably S tier, and a Giant Spawn is like top of B tier, I would say, just given the meta that we're in. Also, it flies, so if your opponent sees 2 Giant Spawn and they have like a traditional double or triple dragon list, you can just be like, oh, 3 points. It'll take me like 2 or 3 rounds of combat to kill that Giant Spawn, but I'm getting a guaranteed 170 points with my dragon, and then I win and I can turn and I can go and charge something else. They're a little bit hard to play into those, unfortunately, because you're very limited in... Ironically, you're limited in how you can maneuver with a random mover, even though they're very mobile the rest of the time. All right. I promised Elves. So let's have a look at Gazareth89's High Elves. Been listening, watching for a while. Love the content. Mostly interested in your take on the Sister Star with a trailing loner BSB that has some ranged protection. Thank you, Gazareth. I'm afraid I'm going to tell you that your list is illegal. The first thing I'm going to do is tell you, unfortunately, you can't have a Leadership 8 General with a Leadership 9 BSB. They did patch that with an FAQ, which is a damn shame. The spawn messes you up. Yeah, that's fair. There are some matchups that giant spawns are really nice into. You could look, so you can write a pretty good list where you can play into big monsters by taking a lot of Hagbane tips while taking a dragon and then some war dancers for pressure, and because you don't need to like kill infantry as much as you did with the old version of the list before war dancers became good. Those Hagbane tips kind of just carry you in some situations. Vesper's here. I said the words and it just boom immediately. Okay, so unfortunately, like I said, we have to drop the BSB, which really is unfortunate that you're not allowed to do that. So, because you can't have a BSB, let's look at what we're doing with the rest of the list. Double Skycutter and Sisters is fine. Shadow Warriors with Ring of Doom. Oh, interesting. Ambushing Ring of Doom. I don't know that I feel like the Ring of Doom needs to ambush. I feel like I want that to be on the table. I think we want to tweak that around. The Dragon Princes. It's a lot of points for 4 models. That's very heavy on the points for 4 models. Like, I think I'd probably rather have 5 drop the Totem of Wrath. In fact, like, so we're at 219, 229 for 10 more points. In fact, for 3 more points, you can just go for 6 Dragon Princes and not have the reroll ones to wound in the AP. The reroll to wounds in AP is nice, but there's sort of like some invisible maths to do with hey, Gareth here, nice. I thought a loner letter character to be a general. It did, but unless I'm wrong with this one as well. Let me just double check the wording on it. They patched it so the general has to be the highest leadership, and if that's not the case, you're not allowed to take it in that way. So, as stated, the general is the character with the highest leadership. If that means that you're not making a BSB. So, even though this refers to the BSB, it just says that it has to be the character with the highest leadership. So, Loner doesn't supersede that, unfortunately. What was I doing? Yeah, so back to the Dragon Princes. I think I like 6 more than 4 because there's invisible maths where you're like, units are going to be wide enough for me to get 6 cavalry in pretty consistently. Wider than 6 is a little bit hard, and also this is a unit that's super mobile because of drilled, so I'm not scared about adding more models. Like if this unit didn't have drilled, I'd be maybe more tempted to lean into being like a small footprint that's really maneuverable. But because you can go like 2 wide and just run around the board super flexibly, I really like going a little bit bigger, I think. Wasn't there a Brett Virtue that was allowed to do it? I don't think the Brett Virtue allows you to do it. In fact, I think you specifically can't run, what's it called? Virtue of the Ideal? I need to check this just because otherwise it's going to annoy me. Yeah, Virtue of the Ideal. Because it can't be your general, I'm pretty sure you can't take... If you've got, for example, a Baron... Like, you're playing Exiles, you've got 2 Barons, I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to run this because then your general would have a lower leadership. A later FAQ on Loner to deal with Slayers. I will check. If there is, I'm going to say that it's totally reasonable for me to have missed it because fuck Slayers. All my homies hate Slayers. No FAQ on that. It might be a specific rule on there. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'm assuming your true is to my fuck Slayers. Everyone hates Slayers. Which is maybe petty, but I really do dislike them as an army. I think they could be so fun. I think like Slayers as a concept could be done so well, and I feel like the way that they wrote it is very poor. Anyway, so Dragon Prince is good. I like, or I don't hate an ambushing unit of Shadow Warriors. We'll come back to that one. But I don't think they get the Ring of Doom. I think that is elsewhere. And probably I'd go up to like 6 models. More for just the case of you want to be a little bit beefier if you're coming in the backfield to do something. Honestly, you could maybe even give this, if you haven't got it somewhere else, turn off Ring of Doom. Have you got the Hunter's Scorn? Yes, you've got it on the Sister of Avalon. Who have you got? Lawmaster's Cloak. Okay, let's just change things around. Because I think... Is it valuable to do that? No, it's probably more valuable just to have the Sisters. Because you're getting +1 to hit and wound on the key turn anyway. So it's just better to have the good bow in the unit. Alright, we'll come back to that. Handmaid of the Ebon Queen. Ruby Ring of Ruin, Dragon Helm is fine. Honestly, do we give this character a better bow, or do we just lean on the fact that it's strength 4? Maybe leaning on it, the fact that it's strength 4 is good already. You haven't got the Bow the Seafarer in. Interesting. I wouldn't hate having Bow the Seafarer on here. Maybe the BSB had Bow the Seafarer. I did just kind of delete it very quickly. I can't remember. I cannot remember if it's in. Let me just scroll up. You did post the list as well. What a hero. What a hero. All right, let's have a look at the BSB. So the BSB had Mantle of Drifting Shadow. Oh, because it wasn't in the unit. Yeah. Okay, so it didn't have Bow the Seafarer. Ruby Ring of Ruin is good. Then you've got the Archmage with sort of Hoeth. Sure. One Safri. It always messes me up. The Sisters of Avalon don't have a rule that says you can't join them unless you also are, because all of the other special infantry have. So every time I see someone taking Sword of Hoeth here, it breaks my brain a little bit. High Magic, Silvery Wand, Sacred Incense, Scroll of Invocation, Power Scroll. I like this setup. I think this is very good. Warden of Safri makes sense. Gives them something to do. Would I want to... No. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That works, I think, because you get the very key turn off with Scroll of Invocation. You can Power Scroll the second turn. There's probably not going to be 3 turns where it really matters, so that looks solid to me. I'd like to give this character a Magic Missile, but we can't because of points. Then you've got this character. Here we go. Lore Familiar Power Scroll. This is where you could go for the... Where's it at? Where's it at? You know what this is missing, actually? I think this would be really good to have to turn off your opponent's ability to fly. I think that would be good. That's what I think this list is missing. So we're missing... we want to turn off fly. We want to add in the Ring of Jet. Again. I would love to have the Infernal whatchamacallit, so you can get an extra magic missile. Because we're just trying to squeeze as much range pressure out of this unit as possible, right? So can we change this around? Because Sacred Incense doesn't need to be on this character. It can definitely move. So if we go 35 points, we take that off here. And then... Oh, Silvery Wand is non... God damn it, I forgot that Silvery Wand isn't extremely common. They really just did have it out for High Elf players, didn't they? They really just had it out for them. Okay. So I don't even know what character we put in. So I would like to see the Bow of the Seafarer, Ring of Jet. We can't put in the Infernal whatchamacallit. There's just no way to fit it. Unless you put a third wizard in. Did you put a third wizard in? You could cast 2 Doom Bolts. How valuable is that? Like, as your fourth character, how valuable would it be to go for a Stormweaver with... The problem is you haven't got a magic missile that you can pick, right? Because Laura Safri doesn't have one. So it doesn't do what we want it to do. Although there is a world where you take a level 1 mage or something like that. You could take a level 1 mage, give them the... What's it called? The Scroll of Invocation. Give them Vault Unmaking. And just be like, this is the item that turns off the ward save on the dragon that I want to kill. I actually think that is probably just good. Like, you probably just do that, right? And that character is very happy to have the Infernal item that gives you Doombolt as well. Because you're only casting Vault Unmaking on the key turn. The rest of the time you're spamming out a magic missile. Maybe that's the extra character. So we go... It has to be a Stormweaver just for points. I'd rather have the Mage, because obviously they've got Blessing of Lilith. But the Stormweaver here... Oh! No, this is fine. This is fine. It works. My brain. It worked, my brain. Dark Magic, and then let's go... what am I looking for? It's all up here. So we're looking for Arcane items. We've got the Infernal Familiar and the Scroll of Invocation. Yeah. And then you can Vols Unmaking, and you can Doombolt the rest of the time. Leadership 9, thank you for that point out there, Gareth. That is upsetting. That is upsetting. God damn. God damn. What's the cheap item here? Phobane is the bow. But it's just not good. It's not worth leaning into. Reaver bow is fine, but not super exciting. This is a list that I could spend a lot of time tweaking. A lot of time. So in terms of drops, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're a little higher than I'd like to be, but it's not meaningfully higher. Not meaningfully higher. Yeah. I think, isn't the way that this is worded, that it's 0 to 1 unit per? It's been so long since I've thought about this that I'm actually not 100% certain. But isn't it that 0 to 1 per can have one of the two options? You can double up, but you can't have both. Am I being stupid? It's late, and it's been a long time since I've had to think about this, so I'm gonna trust the chat, whatever the answer is on this one. Yeah, so 0 to 1, because the way it's worded, 0 to 1 unit in your army may have these. I think that means that only one unit can take these. Am I wrong with that? Is that incorrect? I feel like this is another one of those where it's completely unclear. I've always read it as the 0 to 1 supersedes, and then it's like you can have one or both, but you can't have two units with either. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to leave it just in case I'm wrong, but that might be something that needs to be tweaked. Right, I think. Yeah, that is how I read it, but maybe that is not the case. But you'd still run the second unit, you just have to drop the ambushes if that is the case. Which does make these a little bit less of a good pick, because then you've got 6 drops. Ugh. I think the Vols Unmaking plan is just really good. I think it's genuinely really good, and then you would go... what would you pick otherwise? What would you pick otherwise? Maybe Glittering Robes. So you can go Illusion, and if there's no magic item that's really key to destroy, like there's no like major target that's leaning on like a 4-up ward save or a 5-up ward, then you don't worry about it. But otherwise, you know, if you're playing into like an enemy shooting list, you're just like, I've got Glittering Robes, and that's fine. And I think that's worth doing. I think that is value. It's such a shame that the Stormweaver's Leadership 9 are so weird as well, given how leadership works for elf armies. But yeah, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the Scroll of Invocation. Vol's Scroll, just like 110 points for this character. It's a lot, but I think it's worth doing, and I think it's something we might see more frequently. And I guess technically we can go Warden Safri, get another sword on there. Seems like we all are in consensus that you can't put ambushes on there. That's unfortunate, but we can put Ring of Doom on this unit. 2 times Vanguard Skinks and 2 times Scouting Skinks. Yeah. What are we missing then? In terms of output, we've got Ruby Ring. Yep. We've got the Ring of Doom. Yep. We've got the Hunter's Scorn. Yep. We haven't got Reaver Bow, which is fine. And we haven't got the Bow of the Seafarer. Bow of the Seafarer is quite nice to have, especially if we're trying to kill big targets, and especially if we're turning off the ward save. Like we're getting rid of the ward or regen of the big target. It makes it really easy to, or much easier to kill. So having that big ticket item feels more valuable, I think. But where do we put it? That's the question. Where do we put it? Like the... I don't want to put it on the unit champion because you've managed to make it 500 points exactly, and that would mess it up and it wouldn't work. So the Archmage doesn't want it because they're low ballistic skill. So it kind of has to go on a Handmaiden or a unit champion of the Sisters. But if we want to squeeze in the extra magic missile, we can't put 2 on the Handmaiden, so we'd have to find 25 points somewhere. Oh, no. I got it. The Tetris has worked in my mind. It's all clicked into place. And then this character gets the Lawmaster's Cloak. Ba-ba-da-bum, ba-da-ba-bum. What am I doing? I'm being stupid. Oh, it's only got 50 points of magic items. No, the Tetris. No! For God's sakes, it doesn't work. Maybe we just have to drop the Ring of Doom. I mean, honestly, I'm not that bothered by the Ring of Doom. If there's anything that we're going to miss out of the theoretical output, I think Ring of Doom's the one to drop, and then we just upgrade the Ring of Doom to the... Where's it gone? It's up here, right? There's too many items now. It makes it so hard to scroll. Slowing me down. Oh, the Seafarer. There we go. And that puts us 2 points over, which is fine. Is there anything else that we can do to fit it in? Oh, we just put it back on here where you had it in the first place. Sure. You were right. That sounded bitter. It wasn't meant to. That was just frustration that I've spent however long flicking around and not come with the solution that I wanted. At which point, what's more important? Do we drop some Sisters or do we drop like special? I think we can drop a single Dragon Prince to get below, because 5 output wise 5 versus 4 with the yeah, and this is also just a cheaper unit, and if/when it dies, it doesn't give up the extra 50 points. And Sons of Calidor, that's not a... They don't have a challenge. Yeah, you can't challenge the normal model, so going without a unit champion's nice. The only other thing that I'd like to fit in is a tech piece, because you're doing a pretty good job here at pressuring your opponent. I wouldn't hate... we haven't got any of the anti-fly items. Okay, that's fine. We're just going to kill their flyers, so it's whatever. It's fine. The other item I was going to say is maybe putting like the Becalming Orb on the Dragon Princes, but I don't think that's super important either. High Elves are just filled with missed opportunities. Imagine a Caledonian not being able to accept or issue a challenge. Yeah. Like all of the, or not all of the, like several of the other heavy cavalry units have that rule. And this is the one that doesn't. Curious. I think Chosen don't have it either. I think that's the... Yeah. Cool. I'm still not 100% with this. So the funny thing about the Sister Star list, you can spend hours tweaking this list. Very, very easily. Very easily. So, we'll call it that for now. Yeah. Cool. And then we'll round it out with Phoenix's X-Force list. What do we got? Okay. So, this is X-Force. What was the context here? X-Force for a GT at 2250. The extra points allow me to bring 3 blocks of infantry, 3 cannons, the max with the local comp, and 6 Garrows. Hopefully a good mix of firepower and resilience. Okay. I want more skew with my X-Force, I think. Like, I'm not sold that 3 units of infantry is the way that I would go. I'm gonna tweak it within what you've put here, but I would only run 2 units of infantry because I only need to hold 2 points, and then I'd put more guns in because if I want to play, I'm gonna kill my opponent. Like, and I'm not even sure that 3 cannons is enough. So I'd maybe...
Thanks, mate. Appreciate the content in the list review.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you, Gareth. Appreciate that. Yeah. What was I saying? Yes. So I think, like, I don't love the 3 units of core. for X-Force. I think I'd go 2 units, and I actually think I'm not opposed to dropping the Rangers. I think the Rangers, in my mind, is the least valuable of the 3 units. The Dwarf Warriors, for the amount of wounds and how tanky they are, I think is just such a steal. And then the Thunderers are obviously like a big part of the output. You lose output by dropping the Rangers, but let's be honest, how much damage do the crossbows actually do? I don't think it's that much. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's why I fucking went 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss, or whatever it was. Maybe was it 2? I think it was 2 draws. Yeah. Anyway, so let's assume that we're keeping the units the same, and we'll just look at the loadouts. So in terms of the dwarves, you've gone for battle courage. No musician. This is a sin. This is a sin. Put musicians on your infantry. I'm less worried about the great weapons, honestly. I think they're fine. They're not bad. At 1 point per model, I'm not opposed to them. But yeah, that's fine there. Make sure we've got a musician on them. The Rangers, full command, Rune of Courage. Always put Rune of Courage on your dwarves. It sucks to get run down by dragons, as someone who's done it to dwarf players before. And then the Thunderers with full command, no great weapons. I think that's fine. I don't know that they need great weapons. I feel like it doesn't really make that much difference. So saving the 2 points there per model is pretty good. Character-wise, you've got the Burlock with as the general. I feel like the Sapper without any upgrades is a missed opportunity. Like, if you're taking the characters, you may as well give them the upgrades. Double spell breaking rule of passage is good. The Thane is on foot. The bursting flame Thane, and then you've got the tanky BSB here. Yeah, like I think this is fine. I think this character just doesn't need, air quote needs. This character would benefit from having like accuracy rapid fire. So suddenly you've got 2 shots that always hit on 2s, and they're going to be with Burlock Davidson, so they're really rerolling 1s, and it just adds to your standard shoot a little bit because you're getting your Rune of Rapid Fire gives you quick shot as well, so you've got a little bit more range pressure if your opponent's charging from within their movement distance. So yeah, which puts us 39 points over. And loadout wise, scouts and the regular copters. I actually found that I like the regular copters more than the scout ones, but it is what it is. The musician, I cannot go in marching column with the BSB and the runesmith. You can, they just go into the back. But you never want to get charged. You never want to get charged with this unit if you're in marching column. Right? Wait, hold on. No. Yes. Because with 21 models plus 2 characters. No, with a BSB and a runesmith. Oh, wait, hold on. Marching column would be 5 wide. So 5, 26. So you only lose 1 model to get there. Okay. Okay. Do you want the runesmith in this unit? Is it more beneficial to have the runesmith with the range pressure for the armor bane? Like, I'm not sure you need the flamey and the armor bane in that unit. The MR2 is nice, but the 2 runes are spell breaking if you're not in combat. I feel like, yeah, I'm just not sure that I'd put the runesmith in that unit, honestly. It does get a little bit heavy when you start stacking too many characters into the Thunderers, but I think I like the runesmith there more. And then you've got the sapper. Like, if anything, the sapper maybe I could see going with the warriors, although you'd lose value because you'd be marching. But then you've got so messing around with my wallet because it is my wrist rest. I used to play Path of Exile, and for anyone who doesn't know, it's like a Diablo clone. This is 10 years ago, whatever, and I gave myself RSI from the amount of clicking, so now I've got like a wrist rest here, but it's the size for 2 wrists, but I find it uncomfortable to use, so I use my wallet as the wrist rest for my left wrist, and I use that one for my mouse. Anyway, unimportant sidebar, I just realized that I was waving an empty wallet around. Can you send the characters to the back rank in marching column? You can, yeah. Like that is more central to the spell. Yes, he is more central to the spell. But like, you're playing dwarves, right? So you want to be clumped up anyway. If you are pushing them sideways, like if you're not within dispel range, the warriors are probably like in a worryingly deep position, I would think, right? Feels like Dwarf list needs to bunker up a little bit more. I know you've got 3 units of infantry, but that still would worry me to be too deep. However, I'm just gonna take the musician off. You're the one who's playing this list, so I'm gonna say maybe that you're right, and I'm just gonna not worry about it too much. At 10 o'clock at night, I'm not too pressed about arguing with musicians, but I am very pro musician. Cannon function over 4 on all of them is good. Rune of Forging, Stalwart and Forging, and Reloading and Forging. Cool. That's fine. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I think that would be like the only real tweak I'd make is give the sapper. I mean, if I was doing it, I'd drop the rangers. Like you'd free up two more units of like scout copters by dropping the rangers there. So you'd be up to 10 copters. But if you're running the 3, I think the only tweak that I'd go is like make sure the sapper's got a little bit more oomph. Because you get basically 2 guaranteed hits, which is nice when the rest of the unit's hitting on 4s.
For your empty wallet.
Thanks, Stan. That's very kind of you. I tell you. Oh fuck. I need to probably take some cash out. Because I need to get a new card. It's been so long that I've had this card, which is not in this wallet. It's in the one I actually use. But it's been so long since that I've had my debit card that it's expiring, and that is a thing that happens. But I don't remember that ever happening to me before. I think you only get like 5 years on them, so maybe I've had to like order replacements in the past or something. But yeah, they haven't sent me a replacement, and we're less than 2 weeks from the end of the month, so I should probably just go get some cash out tomorrow and then order a replacement. Yeah, anyway, what would I tweak? Probably just drop like 2 rangers here, and also, funnily enough, no, I can't drop the musician off this. Not after saying all that. You get a new one randomly turn up without even knowing it's about to expire. Yeah, they should do that. I looked into it when I realized that mine was about to expire. It's like, oh, this should arrive like a few weeks before. I was like, we're now in the danger zone.
Tell us more about Ed's change of scope.
Change of scope? Oh, no. When did I say the words change of scope? The funny thing about doing this is sometimes... yeah, that's what I'm trying to work out to fit. Probably like going down to 14 rangers is fine. Although then you can't get your rank bonus. Oh god damn, I hate these tweaks. But like the funny thing about like doing this is because when you're streaming, you've got to be providing like a level of attention for the viewers at all times. You've got to be talking or doing something. Like you've got to fill the dead air. So I think I'm pretty good at mouth and brain going independently, but occasionally then I'll say something. Oh, said I was going to be doing new channels or something. Okay, I thought I said change of scope there. I'm thinking about doing Trench Crusade. I've been looking at Trench Crusade. It's making me super sad because I look at the rules and I'm like, man, this is so clearly written. What a damn shame that we don't have, we don't have this level of clarity in the rules there. Can't remember what you said 10 seconds prior in normal conversation. Yeah, that's also a fair point. But yeah, the other thing that you could fit in actually, now that I'm looking, is you could fit in the Strelaz rune. Like if you're wanting to get up the board, getting the Vanguard for the extra 3 inches of movement, it's not bad. I don't think it's worth going for here. Might be starting Trench Crusade too. Some very active players locally. It looks fun, and I'm not gonna lie, the appearance put me off because I had preconceptions about the sort of people that would be interested in playing it. Turns out they were very clear that it's not for the right-wing grifter sphere of Warhammer. So I was like, oh, I should check this out. Okay, what are we dropping? I mean, like the list of what I'm dropping all the cannons and I'm putting in more copters. Wartime Necromunda, but the rules. Yeah, I mean, Wartime's meant to be very cool, like very good rules wise, but I feel like a lot of the Wartime players have probably gone over to Trench Crusade now. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Which I am very, very in favor of. Um, yeah, I actually don't know what I want to drop here. This is an awful situation to be in. Truly, truly the worst. Truly the worst. Kind of just staring at the same puzzle. Like, how important, like, how aggressive are you being with this unit of warriors, and how important is it that you start in marching column? Because, like, maybe what I would change is just you don't need that many models. So you go down to like 18 with a musician, you lose the ability. 17 with a musician, find some cuts, and you've just got a less big unit, but it doesn't get to marching column, so you don't get to be as aggressive. But like, I don't feel like this, especially because you've got the Master Rune of Grogny. Surely you want this to be more central to your list. Like, I don't feel like it needs to be aggressively at the board. It needs to be providing cover for your own units. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I might have to. 2250. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a different list to purge my brain. What I might have to do is not actually send over the tweaked version. Just on the basis of I'm not 100% sure how I want to tweak it. But you've heard my thoughts on it. I think the list is generally good. I'm not a huge fan of cannons personally. I found them to be underwhelming, and I'd rather go more in the copters. So I'd go as heavy as possible on the scout copters. And then we go. I really like the unit of warriors. I don't know how many I'm going. I'm gonna tweak it as I go along. Courage battle, nothing on there. I think we can go here. Again, like, I think I probably just don't worry about. We maybe take drilled off. We'll come back to it. The Thunderers, we'll go with 16 as well. And like so, that fills out our core nicely. Then we're going to go copters. I like 2 units of 2 with steam guns. And then, because we've got a lot of points, I actually think a third unit of 3 with clatter guns. 2 solar Gyro bombers with steam guns, because they're realistically not going to be able to shoot if they're marching, and they're going to be marching. We go Burlock Damerson General. We go for a single sapper. I actually think the sapper's not as important as it was, but I still like having a 1. It's just nice to play around with. Like so. Then we've got the Thane, BSB. Because I'm going more shooting. I think the version that I wrote initially, and I probably should have just like, oh no, I've cleared my. I go through so many lists in a week that there's no way that I'm holding on to them. I think the version that I wrote was just dropped the melee presence on this character, and I just accepted he was going to be on the shield bearers, but maybe that's wrong. We'll tweak that in a second if we need to. And then we want to go with Runesmith. Runesmith is very important. And we go passage, double spell breaking. That leaves us with 100 points. So we actually probably can go for the melee version and then just like drop some points here to make it work. So you'd go like second Thane. This one is the Bursting Flame character with passage, which is nice to have. Like so. And then this character goes back to being the melee version. Oh, I hadn't put the... Nope, never mind. I'm wrong. I hadn't put the BSB stuff on there. So we're still just rocking the same. And then we go... Battle, Fear, Grogny. This is a combo I like. Then we're 13 points over. So we drop like 1 warrior. 1 warrior question mark. They're 12 points per model. Of course they're 12 points per model. Why are you like this? Like, maybe that's the answer. Although if we're 15, we definitely need... I like 17 on this because we're not putting any characters in them. So then the Thunderers... I don't really want to drop the Thunderers too heavily. So maybe we just accept that this unit is going to be another unit of 2 steam guns. That frees up a lot of points, and we can just go a little bit bigger on the units. if I'm doing that, can I fit in this? Not really. Not really. I wouldn't mind a second character, actually. Instead of going 18, leave it at 16, and then put like a second runesmith, and put the runesmith in with the warriors. It's not a bad little cheap little MR protector, challenge bot, heavy armor shield, hand weapon, single rune of spellbreaking. And then we just find how many characters have we got in the Thunderers? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces, 7 spaces. So we can go down to 15. Like, that's probably where I'd go with X-Force. But in terms of your list, I like it in general. If you're playing to the 3 units and the 3 cannons, I think the only thing I'd do is try and find the points to put in for the sapper. But I don't know what I'd go for. I'm just not sold that the drilled is super important. I might be wrong, but I'm not sold that in your version that I care too heavily about drilled. I'm a big fan of the stupid 26th model, or the 21st model, depending on, or 17th model, I guess, depending on how you set them up. But I think I would probably just make the cuts here, because I don't think you need that many infantry. But yeah, hope it goes well. Sorry I wasn't able to help more. I won't link it because I haven't actually done anything for your list. I've just thought about it for 15 minutes and then not tweaked it. Hope that's helpful. Yeah, anyway. Good stuff there. Thank you all for watching, and I will return. More stuff coming out over the course of the weekend, I'm sure. Time for me to go and do